Of all the fish in the sea, the anglerfish is one of the most infamous. Like someone fishing for leisure or lunch, the angler part of the animal's name comes from the protrusion on its head that functions as bait to its prey. It's a creature of the deep, dark parts of the sea where there's no light except for its luminescent lure, which is why a discovery near Tenerife, one of the Spanish Canary Islands off the northwest coast of Africa, is making waves. This particular anglerfish, which marine biologists observed late last month, was swimming near the ocean's surface, and no one knows why it was seen so far from its normal habitat. Some think it might have been sick, that it was swept up in a rising current, or that it might have been swimming away from a bigger fish. Whatever the cause, the effect gave observers a uniquely lighted view of a predator that prefers the murky depths. I'm Carl Azuz for The World from A to Z. Welcome to the show. Yesterday afternoon, U.S. President Donald Trump announced new tariffs or taxes on steel and aluminum that's imported into the U.S. What that means, American companies that buy these materials from other countries will pay 25% higher prices to do it. Potential upsides, that additional money would go directly to the U.S. federal government, increasing its revenue. And to avoid the tariffs, American companies might buy more steel and aluminum from American makers. That could cause them to increase their production and hire more workers. It could also make the U.S. less dependent on other countries to produce goods that Americans can produce themselves. Potential downsides of tariffs. The additional import costs to American companies could be passed on to their customers, at least in the short term. And that could increase inflation, the rise in prices of the goods we buy, at a time when consumers want those costs to decrease. It could also lead to other countries enacting tariffs of their own on American goods, hurting U.S. exporters. Different experts have different opinions on what the overall outcomes will be, but they do agree it'll take time to find out.
Hey! Did you know at the age of 100, Jimmy Carter was the oldest former president in U.S. history? For more on the presidents, check out We the People and the President at periodicpresidents.com.
Where in the world? This is a nation that became independent from Japan in 1945. Its formal name contains Democratic People's Republic, but it is a communist dictatorship. It shares a demilitarized zone with its southern neighbor. This is North Korea, a controlling and closed-off nation of Eastern Asia.
But that nation may soon open itself up, at least slightly, to tourism. A tour operator there says it's not a major industry for North Korea. Textiles, building for the military, chemical production, and mining are more important to its economy. But if its tourism industry expands, it'll give a very limited number of people the chance to see an isolated northeastern city.
Even by North Korean standards, Rason is not exactly a tourism hotspot. A remote economic zone, closer to China and Russia than the capital Pyongyang. Rason is known for its shoe factory and banking system. There's also a textile factory and sea cucumber breeding farm. A typical workday includes outdoor exercise, weather permitting. In almost any other place, tourists probably wouldn't be lining up for the chance to open a bank account. But this is North Korea. The secret state has chosen Rason as its first post-pandemic destination for Western tourists, allegedly.
Will it happen next week? Entirely possible. But will it be delayed? Entirely possible.
Longtime tour operator Simon Cockrell knows there are no guarantees when it comes to North Korea. Simon's made nearly 200 trips. He says traveling there is not for everyone.
You're choosing a highly restrictive time in a very complicated country on a trip that your family will be worried about.
The State Department has banned U.S. tourists from visiting North Korea.
What's the number one thing you tell people not to do when they visit North Korea?
Don't proselytize religiously. It's illegal. Don't break any law, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. Simple as that.
For the past year, North Korea has only allowed Russian tourists to visit. Soon, maybe, a handful of visitors from the West, arriving just in time for one of North Korea's biggest holidays, the late Kim Jong-il's birthday.
On this date in world history. February 11th is a significant date for Japan. Its first emperor, Jimmu, is said to have founded the country on this date in the year 660 BC. There are a number of myths and legends associated with Jimmu, but February 11th is celebrated as Japan's National Foundation Day. A peace agreement was signed on this date in 1929 that made the Vatican an independent state within the nation of Italy. The Lateran Treaty ended decades of dispute between the Catholic Church and the Italian king. Another dispute came to a conclusion in the nation of Iran on February 11th, 1979. This was the date when its monarchy was overthrown, and Iran moved toward becoming an Islamic republic with a supreme leader functioning as the ultimate authority of the theocratic regime. Finally, this was the date in 2020 when an infamous disease officially got its name. The World Health Organization abbreviated Coronavirus Disease 2019 to the simpler term COVID-19.
Word of knowledge. In terms of population, what is the largest city in Australia? Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane. With over 5.2 million people, which is more than the capital of Canberra or the city of Sydney, is the Australian city of Melbourne.
The place looks ordinary enough on the outside, but inside are not only books, but also cooks. The Melbourne Public Library is offering affordable cooking classes through a program called Cook to Connect. People show up to learn about different cuisines and actually try out new recipes right then and there. And at the end, participants enjoy a free lunch. Gloria Corey is a regular, but she doesn't just come for the food.
I was lonely and vulnerable, and I wanted to connect with people. Sometimes we need a place to be, just to interact with other people and enjoy a good time together.
Widespread isolation is one of the main reasons that the Melbourne City Council started the program.
Gets people away from being isolated. It's good for mental health. It's also really nice, good for people.
Advocates say Australia's inflation and high cost of living are contributing to the problem of isolation. Dining out is a common social activity, and tight budgets rule that out. In 2022, prices rose 5.1%.
Food insecurity is a really big issue at the moment, with so many Australians counting every single dollar that they've got.
As an alternative to eating out, the library's classes teach locals how to make budget-friendly meals and feed locals, and offer a social experience.
Meet lots of different people from different countries, which makes it very interesting.
Not all public libraries offer cooking classes, but most have a lot of great resources, including audiobooks, DVDs, movies, board games, and learning opportunities, even free tickets to local museums. Check out your local public library. You might be surprised at what's available.
Its motto is live free or die. It's also known as the Granite State, and it's where Miss Johnson's class is watching. Charlestown Middle School in Charlestown, New Hampshire is the home of the forts. Meanwhile, in the Magnolia State, the Greyhounds are running at Ocean Springs High School. Mrs. Bond's class is in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And in London, in the province of Ontario, in the nation of Canada, Mr. McClellan's class is where the Admirals are in command. Hello to Lord Nelson Public School. Usually, when nutritionists tell you to add more color to your plate, they're talking about vegetables. But at a butcher shop in Germany, there's now a variety of colors available in fried bratwurst. It's the antithesis of eating white. It's also a butcher's way to complement the upcoming German elections with the different colors representing the different parties people can vote for. Poppy seeds, purple carriage, beetroot, and algae provide different shades. Pork, beef, lamb, rabbit, turkey, and chicken provide different flavors. Maybe politics always comes with its fair share of fillers and pork, promising to be the cure some people hunger for while others criticize it as baloney. But this could be a chore easy way to cook out the bratwurst of it, and encase our hot dog issues of the day in a can-do-y, colorful serving that never leaves voters asking, where's the beef? I'm Carl Azuz. Ain't nothing partisan about lunch. We'll cook up another edition of The World from A to Z tomorrow.